FC25, a video game in which you mostly complain about not being able to dribble due to defenders being too strong.
Denied.
But I say otherwise. I bet you don't know all of the 8 different dribbling methods. Yes, you heard it right, 8, and you might be missing out on a huge game changer which completely destroys the opponent's defense. To ensure you learn everything, I will show you all of the dribbling techniques and how you can use them to outplay your opponents in FC25. And at the end, I will also teach you how to get past the opponents like this with a single touch. Our first dribbling technique is the left stick dribbling. No other buttons are pressed, only the left stick. It is the most essential dribbling method and the core mechanic of all different techniques. With the left stick dribbling, your player moves rather slowly, but he will have a lot of contact on the ball. With every other contact, your player will have a chance to change the ball's direction, which allows you to outmove your opponent in tight situations. While using the left stick dribbling, you need to have a good feeling about those ball contacts, watch the opponent's defensive moves, and adjust those touches on the ball according to that defensive behavior. You can also bait the defenders in one direction using the left analog stick dribbling easily. Simply take a step towards one direction as if you're heading there and make the defender commit in that direction as well. With the next ball contact, you should be pointing out away from that direction and also away from the opponent as well, which lets you easily get past the opponent. Using the R2, RT button in open spaces and sprinting like that to cover more ground could be also very useful. You will move a lot faster while sprinting compared to the left stick dribbling, but you will have fewer touches on the ball, which means less control as well. That will potentially limit your turning ability, which means it's best to use when you have open space ahead of you. Sprinting could be extremely dangerous when used against unsettled defenders while transitioning and exploring the space on the wing. Here on the counter-attack, I receive the ball with my forward against a single defender. He is still trying to recover and is very unbalanced. In a normal position where there should be an additional center back, I wouldn't even consider sprinting, but seeing the Saul defender and the huge space he has to cover, I decided to control the ball in the direction that he was coming from and instantly sprint there to get past him. Sprinting allows me to outplay him like this and I score the goal. You can also use the help of the right analog stick while sprinting to increase the distance you explore once you have open space. We call this mechanic knock on. While sprinting with the R2 RT button, tapping the right analog stick towards your running direction will push the ball away from your feet for a longer distance. This knock-on could be very useful when you know you have a pace advantage compared to the defender in the open space. Instead of tapping the right stick, you could also push it in the running direction and hold it right there, which will even further increase the distance the ball travels. And the last knock-on is executed by simply double tapping the sprinting button in a direction. If you are currently not sprinting but you want to explode with your run in a direction, this double tap knock-on could be huge. Remember, each of these knock-ons are applied on a single touch, so for example, if you want to execute consecutive knock-ons, make sure you apply these concepts on every single new touch on the ball. Our third technique is somewhere between the left stick dribbling and sprinting. Yes, I'm talking about the controlled sprint, which can be performed by holding onto the R1, RB button. You are much faster than the left stick dribbling, but not as fast as the sprinting. But on the other hand, you will have more contact with the ball than sprinting. With those many touches on the ball, you can still dodge the defender using sharp turns while you are not losing too much speed. So this could be extremely dangerous, especially if you have the play style. Here I see the opportunity to dribble. I want to explore that space real fast, but since there are defenders nearby, I can't really sprint and get the ball too much away from my feet. So I decide to use the controlled sprint and get an advantage. I hold on to the R1, RB button, dribble first towards forward to get in the box, and once the opponent selects the center back, I quickly get a diagonal left stick input towards the upper side. With many touches on the ball without losing too much speed, I create the best shooting chance and score the goal. Strafe dribbling is another special method that you could execute by holding onto the L1, LB button. In contrast to the other methods, you keep facing the opposition goal while using this technique. That means you don't turn around with the left analog stick, but you can simply slide your player towards the back or sides while having close contact with the ball. The general usage of strafe dribbling is to execute sudden direction changes to be able to outmaneuver your opponent. Here on the wing, as I turn back around, the opponent will probably overcommit to the passing lane towards the upper side. To outplay him, I need to get myself towards the other side with a sharp turn. However, if I do it from the outer side, that might be too slow and the opponent can catch up. And yet, I'm still facing away from the direction I want to go to. but I know if I execute a strafe dribbling, I will be instantly locked onto the goal's direction and can perform a sharp direction change. So holding onto the L1, LB and instantly changing the direction towards the left side allows me to get past the defender easily, and with 2 passes, I will score the goal. You could also create a sprint boost with the strafe dribbling mechanic, which is pretty hard to defend. The key to it is to strafe in the direction you want to have a speed boost. Once you take 1 or 2 steps, let go of your L1, LB button and instantly press your sprinting button while still pointing out in the same direction. You almost teleport away from the player like this. Even though EA nerfed the speed boost a while ago, it is still one of the most dangerous tools anywhere in the opposition half, which is why we have an in-depth tutorial on it on the Guide Plus that reveals the key tips to it to become successful. If you don't want to miss out on that, make sure to check the links in the description. The next method is something many players already have forgotten about, the Agile Dribbling, which could be done by holding the L2, R2 or L2 RT buttons together. Agile Dribbling is very similar to the Strafe Dribbling. You don't directly turn towards one direction, but take a side step with increased agility. That means you could change the ball's direction sharply in a tight position, which can't be done effectively with any other method. I find Agile Dribbling extremely useful when the defender is pressing at you in a 1 versus 1 position and you have to dodge him. Example: I receive the ball with my midfielder and my passing choices are being covered up front. I have a passing option on the side, but I'm not entirely facing him. I want to turn myself towards the potential receiver and pass the ball to him. It may seem very easy, but it also has a high failure risk if my player delays the pass. If I only use the left stick towards the upper side to prepare the pass, the defender could reach out to me with momentum and acceleration and get a foot in. The same goes for the option in which I take 1 step back towards the receiver with the left analog stick only, which completely changes my direction. If my player acts slowly, that is also very risky. So what I do here is to take that step towards the receiver while holding on to both L2, R2 buttons together, which activates the Agile Dribbling. As you can see, my player quickly dodges the incoming defender's move, which he probably couldn't have without the Agile Dribbling, and changes the ball direction without losing it. Another dribbling technique to cover the ball like this is slow dribbling, which could be done by holding on to the L2, R1 or L2 RB buttons together. With slow dribbling, you have more ball contacts with tighter turns, so it's again a great tool to cover the ball away from the opponent with your body while turning in a safe direction. But the downside is, it is very slow. Once you cover the ball safely away from the defender and still go with the slow dribbling, then you will be losing your advantage since the opponent can recover due to your lack of speed. So that means it will be only highly effective if you only use it for a short time to outmaneuver your opponent and then continue with another dribbling or any kind of offensive action. When we talk about protecting the ball, we simply can't ignore the shielding, which is another method that is executing by holding onto the L2, LT button. As long as you hold on to the shielding, your player will attempt to put his body between the ball and the upcoming defender. I find shielding very useful when I want to secure the ball in a tight position where the opponent tries to go in for a running duel. Once that happens, I want to secure the ball using the shielding mechanic, put my body between the ball and the potential danger, and decide what I do next. When you are facing insane pressure, the shielding could be used as a panic button in situations where you are most likely about to lose the ball. You could still lose the ball while shielding, but the chances of losing it are highly reduced compared to a normal one. Here, as I'm not quite sure what intention my opponent has defensively, I tend to secure the ball safely and turn towards the other direction while continuously shielding the ball. The first turn is done safely. I do it a second time predicting he will come at me, which he doesn't do, so I turn back around. Be very careful here. As he is making a direct attempt on the ball, I hold on to the L2 button with a perfect timing, which makes my player go into a different animation that will put his body between the opponent and the ball widely. You see, the ball is completely protected and we have beaten the defender to create space for us using the shielding. Even I don't believe that it works so perfectly, so I actually took a step away from the created opportunity, but since the shielding unbalanced the defender so much, I was still able to continue the attack and score the goal. Very nice to know. Last but not least, one of my favorites, Effort Dribble Touch, which is the perfect dribbling tool to surprise your opponent and create an opening. Hold on to the R1, RB button and flick the right stick. It is the fastest way to get a quick contact on the ball and change the direction when you need to dodge an opponent. It is also one of the best techniques to exploit the defensive mistakes that the opponent makes. If you see a defender who is taking a risk and opens up one side while committing to the other, the effort dribble touch would allow you to directly take a touch in that empty direction and accelerate as soon as possible. Here, as I'm about to receive the ball, I see that I have a passing opportunity towards my striker, which is obvious, and the opponent most likely sees it as well. So I have to think about what I can do if he tries to take the center back to the passing lane and opens up the running lane to my actual receiver. So seeing him switching back to the center back, I genuinely think that he won't come at me and cover the passing lane between my winger and striker. This is why I have to explore the running lane ahead of me as fast as possible, and executing an effort dribble touch in that direction allows me to swiftly push the ball in that direction without leaving the room for the defender's comeback, and I scored the goal from a hard angle. You can also do this on the first touch if you execute the same input combo before the ball arrives at your feet, which we call the controlled first touch. This will allow you to already fill the gaps quickly that you can explore and hugely surprise the defenders with an unexpected move. I mainly use it with the wingers on the first touch while receiving the ball from a teammate from the back or center. Since my winger mostly faces the direction from where the pass is coming, the opponents think like, okay, he will dribble or pass in the same direction. What they can't predict is that I will have this controlled first touch towards the wing and completely outplay them. Here, as the opponent is applying a huge amount of pressure, I pass the ball towards my winger. I know he thinks I wouldn't turn towards the wing with a normal dribbling since he is too close to my receiver and he should be more focused on covering the pass towards the center. This is why he's on the right side of my player. Predicting that and also seeing it, I execute a controlled first touch into the other side and incredibly got rid of him without losing any speed, and as he was trying to recover from that surprise, he conceded the goal out of nowhere. Incredible method and also very fun. At some point we talked about the technical playstyle boosting the control sprint. What if I told you that there are so many underrated playstyles that are insanely enhancing other mechanics in the game? You are now curious, right? Then click the video that appears on your screen right now. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, take care and peace.